Good morning, world. It's your boy Mikey SB, and today it's Sunday, April 26th. We're so blessed to be alive. I'm pre-recording this podcast for tomorrow, Monday, April 27th. And this is going to be a great one. This is for all my artists out there, everybody who's working on releasing music, everybody who's creating music, working on professional packaging. People who really want to get some tips on, hey, I've been making music for a little bit. I'm passionate about it. How do I take it to the next level? How do I start getting people to really grab onto it and gravitate to it? How do I really sell it to the audience that I'm looking to sell it to while still being me and still being myself? Well, that's what today's episode is about. Basically, today is how I promote my music as an independent artist in 2020. And if you follow me on Instagram at itsmikesb, ITSMIKESB on Instagram, a couple weeks back now, closer to the beginning of the year, I put out a 10-minute Instagram TV video where I basically went over my process, release after release, how I promote my music as an independent artist. So that's what that video is for today. We're going to talk about it in depth, in detail, and I plan to get to the nitty-gritty stuff. I really have nothing to hold back, nothing to hide. I figure there should be somebody who's putting this information out there because when I was, year 1, 2, 3 on the pursuit of my happiness, on the pursuit of the music dream, I really did not have anybody to guide me, walk me through step by step. Hey, here's where you put your money. Here's where you're going to lose your money. I had to learn that by myself, and I'm still learning. So I think these tips are very valuable, and you're going to be able to get some immediate use out of them if you are in this niche that I'm targeting, an independent artist, if you're a musician, if you record from your house, or if you go to the studio, if you're releasing music on all digital streaming platforms, but you want to get more engagement, this is the podcast for you. So this is the Chase Your Dreams, Do What You Love, and Get Your Money podcast. It's your host, Mikey SB, and let's jump right into it. So obviously, before you have something to promote, you got to have the record. You've got to have this track, whether you recorded it at home, and that's the final cut, or you demoed it at home, and then you took it to a studio for a professional mix and master, or you demoed it at home, took it to a studio for a mix, and then took it to another studio for a master. There's a bunch of ways to do it, but this is for you guys. So the first step is to get a high quality mix and master on your song. Now, to each his own. Like I said, I just went over a few different strategies. Some people record themselves completely. Like I have a friend, Monte Harris, who was real adamant on recording himself, and he was very, very nice with it and super detailed with it. And he spent the time learning the software to be able to really manipulate his voice the way he wanted it to. That's one option. Feel free. Go for it. That's an amazing option. It's always good to know how to do stuff. Some people like to go right to the studio and not demo at their house. Go right to the studio, get some help from the engineer, really lay it down the way it should be laid down and get some advice. Some people need that. So a lot of people go to the studio as well. A lot of people like the studio vibe. A lot of people don't like the studio vibe. I've gotten mixed reviews, and I've had mixed reviews myself. Like the old saying goes, there's a time and a place for everything. Sipping some nice cold brew today. So that's number one, right? Number one, you get a high quality recording of your track. That's number one. Before you can do anything else, even if you just stopped right there, you had the high quality mix and you dropped it on SoundCloud, you could literally do that with no cover art, with no promotion, with no budget, and you could be done. That's the level that some artists are at right now. And more than likely, if you're at that level, you're listening to this podcast trying to figure out how to take it to the next level. But I was there, and there's no shame in that. If that's where you're at right now, please feel free to do that. Because I used to get records right from the studio. I never would demo them at the crib. I would go pay $25 an hour back in 2011, 2012. My boy HD Studios 954, go give him a follow. And I would literally pay $25. We'd record the song. More than likely, it was a freestyle on top of somebody else's beat, another poppin' artist. And then I would go and just drop it on SoundCloud. And that was my release strategy. But fast forward 2020, we've learned a lot. We've lost a lot of money. We've made a little bit of money. So we figured some things out. So step number 2, after you have a high quality mix and master recommended, you need some cover art, right? Now I'm not talking about some art that, TuneCore automatically whips up for you. I'm not talking about something that you draw at home if you're not an artist. I'm talking about hiring a graphic artist, whether that be online or in person, to custom curate art for this song specifically with your brand in mind. Maybe you have some colors themed around your brand or around the release. Hire somebody to really make a high quality graphic for you guys, the right size, the highest quality version, something that as soon as it goes on Spotify, as soon as it goes on iTunes, Apple Music, it's going to be super high quality. People are going to be able to see it. It's going to be eye-catching. It's going to pop, and you're going to want to listen to it just off of the cover art alone. That is number 2. Once you have this record and you're loving it and you're like, man, I'm ready to go, please do yourself the favor and go spend $25, $50, $10, whatever you need, and hire somebody who's a pro at doing cover arts. And if you need somebody, go follow my boy Trev at Cause Traffic, CAUSE Traffic, on Instagram. I'm pretty sure he's charging like $25 for covers. I recommend everybody to him. I mean, it's really amazing, and you'd be surprised what a little bit of art direction can do for your music and for your brand. I mean, it's all about selling these people to hop on that Mikey SB train. And when I say selling, don't take it the wrong way. I'm not looking to lie to people, to game them into buying into my brand, but it is a business. It's a music business. I'm in the music business, so I do have to sell people and gain these fans, and I have to present my product in a certain way time and time again for people to really stick around. At least that's what I think. So this is, the agenda that I'm pushing. So make sure you go get yourself some fire cover art, and like I said, my boy Cause Traffic will help you out. But if let's say you don't like his work and you were like, man, how can I find some graphic artists? How can I find some cover artists, online? Well, the first step would be to search on Instagram, like cover art, hashtag cover art, or even just in the search bar, type in cover art, and a bunch of people who have that in their bio or in their name will pop up, and you can kind of sift through and find what works best for you. I'm sure if you Google custom cover arts, you can find that as well. You might even know a homie or two in your network who does some super sick stuff for the low. But don't be afraid to invest into yourself. If you already invested and you got the studio recorded record, you're already in too deep. Don't be afraid to invest that extra $25, that additional $50 to get yourself some cover art so that it's packaged well. And that's really what the cover art does. It packages your song. I mean, so when somebody looks at it, it's presented proper and it looks packaged and it looks like it had a purpose, from the art to the sound. I mean, somebody might listen to your record just based off the cover art, or they might not. So that's the point. You really want to get that listener, you really want to give them an amazing first impression so that they check out your music even if they didn't know you just based off of that cover art. So step 1, go get yourself a high quality recorded, mixed and mastered record. And then number 2, don't be afraid to invest in cover art for yourself to package this single or project that you're working on. It's really going to make a difference, not only for you and for your quality of standard, but also for your fans and the people who are consuming your music. So step 3, on top of the cover art, you really, to make an impact, in my opinion, now it's an attention game. Shout out to Gary Vee. Go follow Gary Vee if you need motivation, if you're looking for ways to build your social media and stuff. I mean, he's really blunt, straight to the point. A lot of the times it's us who's just slacking, but on top of the mix and master from the studio, on top of the cover art, now you need content. It's a content age and it's an attention game, so you need to be posting frequently, really every day. And Gary even recommends posting 100 times a day across all platforms. That's like 10 Instagram stories, 5 Instagram feed posts, 15 tweets, 10 Snapchats, 20 LinkedIns. You get the point, a YouTube video, and now you're at 100 posts a day. That's like full-scale content creation, which is the goal at the end of the day. But, for at least the first 2 weeks before you release, and then the 2 weeks after you release, you need content. Now, what do I mean by content? One version of content is photos, right? You can get your buddy to take photos of you. You can hire somebody to do a photo shoot for you. You could take photos of yourself. That is content. Another version of content is you hopping in front of the camera like I do with my motivational speeches and say, hey, I got a new song coming out. That's a piece of content. You can say, hey, here's a sneak preview of the song. That's another piece of content. You can say, hey, here's a breakdown of how we made the beat. That's another piece of content. Hey, here's a lyric breakdown of what I meant when I was writing. That's another piece of content. That was like 4 video pieces of content just thinking off the top of my head. And you need these things to constantly drive traffic and awareness towards this song that you're going to drop or project or whatever it may be. Because if you don't have that, then when you put the music out after you've invested the money in the recording and into the cover art, you're not really going to be happy with the result unless you're not looking for a result. Then that's totally fine too. But if you're really looking to gain a new audience, if you're really looking to expand your fan base and expand your engagement, release after release, you have to have content. So, like I said, one version of content is photo shoots, whether that's you recording yourself or photo shooting yourself, or having somebody do it for free or paying somebody to do photo shoots. Another version is you hopping in front of the camera and talking to your people, whether that be a lyric breakdown, a beat breakdown of how I made the music, just letting them know that the song's coming out, or doing, maybe performing for them live. Another version of content is taking that cover art that you've now paid for and putting the song behind it. So that's a secondary piece of content that you get when you get the cover art. I mean, you could get any app on your phone. I think one that I use that works really well is called InShot. And this isn't sponsored by InShot or anything or any of these apps or people that I'm talking about. This is just me giving legit game, straight game that I used release to release as an independent artist in 2020. So a good app that I use to put music behind your cover art for like an Instagram post or Twitter post or something is called InShot, InShot, InShot. I think they have it on both the Android store and the Apple store. I do have an Android. Please do not at me in the comments about it. I'm a fan of it, I guess, now. I got it out of necessity, and now I'm a fan. But yeah, definitely want to have that song behind your cover art. I think that's another additional piece of content that you can post, maybe in the weeks leading to your release, so that you build up hype for the record. That's an amazing one. You could also customize some story posts. They do have some apps that make custom story posts for you. You can customize Instagram story cropped posts, and you could also do that before and after your release. You could also just be super active on your story. Like you'll see me sometimes, hey, good morning world, chase your dreams, go get your money today. And then I'll just, I'll share a lot of people's stuff on my story. If I find something that I think is sick or dope, then I'll just repost it and reshare. And that's another tip as far as increasing engagement. You really gotta mess with the people that are messing with you. But back onto the content, make sure you get the photos of the photo shoots and you hopping on camera talking to your fans. Make sure you get that cover art with the song going behind it. And like I said, InShot is a great app to do it yourself. I'm pretty sure you can do it in iMovie. I've done it on iMovie. You also need to make the YouTube audio, the official YouTube audio of your song, and you could do that right in iMovie. When you take the cover art, you import it into iMovie, and then you take your track and you just, drag the cover art, and you could get a real easy YouTube post with the cover art for your song, for your YouTube channel. But another thing that you could do is a skit. You could do a skit. You could come up with a video themed around your project release or your song release, and that could create great engagement for you. That could be a really engaging piece of content that you post for your fans that really gets them to get hyped for the single or go check it out. Go check out that link in your bio, whatever you're trying to drive them to do, whatever action you're calling them to do. And it works amazing. Like if you see for me, I had put out a skit for Mangoes with my boy Scott. We filmed it, we came up with a quick idea real quick at the crib, and we filmed it and we put it out. It took us, I think we timed that one like a full hour from idea creation, shooting, editing, and in an hour we had a final product. mean, it wasn't perfect. We're not talking about Steven Spielberg movies or Quentin Tarantino things. I mean, we're just talking about content pieces for your fans to just engage and show that you're out here, really grinding and really trying to make a name for yourself and really just trying to build a brand for yourself. So, Slow Day, we did a skit as well for one of my other releases. Slow Day, we did a skit where I literally jumped in the water, like fully clothed in some thrifted suit that I got. Like, it was amazing. Like, literally another content piece that we spent a couple hours creating, and the fans liked it, and it created a little bit of buzz for the record, whatever that may be. Got X amount of views. And built up hype for this record that I was going to release. You can always do a skit like that, and it doesn't take much. I mean, my buddy Scott had a Fujifilm camera, and we were just shooting. I mean, we had no professional setup, no lighting, no anything. I mean, we literally just shot, edited on, I think he had Final Cut Pro or Adobe Audition or something simple. I mean, we really don't have like a crazy amount of tools. All stuff that you can get on Google. Maybe find somebody who's good with video editing, a friend or so to get some help, somebody who shoots some video. Even if you had to throw somebody a couple bones, $100, $200 to film a couple content pieces, I mean, it's worth it at the end of the day. And we'll talk about the budget a little bit later, the overarching budget on, where I think money should go in 2020 for your song releases. But like I mentioned before, a lyric breakdown is also good. Maybe after the song has been released, either a beat breakdown of how I made the music or a lyric breakdown of how I wrote the record. I think that really helps your fans understand,